community to live a healthy, safe, and financially capable life, helping each one of us in realizing our dream at any age, any point, starting from today, day. Success. Come on to learn and grow. Welcome to the Village Talk Show. Come on to learn and grow. Welcome to the Village Talk Show. We discuss what people need to know, empowering them to learn and grow. We discuss what people need to know, empowering them to learn and grow. Success is not spoken, it is done. Success is done. Come on now. The Village Talk Show. Talk Show. The Village Talk Show.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us right here on the Village Radio Talk Show. I am your host, Roderick Daly. Joining me from top to bottom, and on the screen is, Andre Dolman, our executive producer, Dr. Joanne Bryant, our co-hostess, and Dr. John L. Sampson, our co-host. Where we're dedicated to empowering the community to live a healthy, safe, and financially capable life through education, helping each one of us in realizing our dreams at any age, at any point, starting from today. Where success is not just what are we doing to be successful. I don't even know where to start. First of all, I think I'm gonna start with a tragedy down there at FSU. My heart felt condolences to the family of the two individuals as of right now, according to the news, who succumbed to the injury at another school student at Florida State University. 6 injured. The gunman, Phoenix, I believe is Eichner, has been apprehended after being shot by the police. So I hate to start off our program on such a somber note, but when it's going to end, and there's so much that we have to talk about today, but we're not going to have enough time to do that, Dr. Bryan. So that this is also Easter week for everyone, and Passover, and the end of Ramadan. But I just started with that sad note. The news just came in with that situation. John, we'll start with you today. Bring greetings to the villagers, and whatever you want to let off your chest at the beginning, you could do that.
Well, greetings to the villagers and on this holy week, and just remember the purpose of this week. Things may look bleak. When you hear all the news throughout the world and what's going on and what's happening in Washington, D.C., but always remember that, God is in control.
Mm-hmm.
And when things look bleak, when Jesus was put in that tomb, on the 3rd day he rose again. Like anything else, we may fall down, but we'll get back up. Can I get an amen?
I like it. I like it.
Yeah. How could you top that off?
I like
Dr. Bryan, you can always top it off, Doc.
No. When you start with Christ, that it stays there. That's it. So thank you for starting us off on an inspirational note.
in spite of the fact that, there is tragedy constantly. That will be something that we constantly face on a daily basis, but you know who you put your trust in. And like you mentioned, John, put your hope and trust. There are bad times, but wait ahead. Good times will be coming.
Amen.
Amen to that. We have two guests today, so opportunity for you guys to call in to the show. 347-746-6598. 746 347-746-6598. Andre, what's on your mind?
Getting some projects done. That's just what it is. Sleep and get my projects done. So, but just just thankful. I've been taking even more time, just being grateful for like where I'm at, where I'm going, and just for the people around. So, grateful for y'all. Grateful for family, and just having health and strength.
Amen to that.
Right. Let me just talk about our two guests. Well, one is I want to get us pumped and motivated. This week, Trump sent a letter. I got a hold of the letter.
What letter?
I'm about to tell you.
Deport him. Deport Roderick.
That's exactly what the letter said. The letter said, if you're here on TPS under the executive order by Biden, you're on parole, you're on TPS CPV, one visa to be here, seeking asylum, you're done. You need the CPV need to go home immediately. So you have 7 days to pack your stuff up and go home. And then
7 days.
7 days. And the second, people who had the initial temporary protective status through October of 2026, he's trying to rush the date up to August of this year. So everybody who's here under the migrants, especially the migrants who are here for legal stay and moving towards legalization, what to do. Unfortunately, everybody's scared. Everybody's license has been going off after. And our pockets are not as deep as Trump, but we can definitely give you an opportunity to get some advice on what needs to happen. Right? And that was that. We start off with school shootings. And speaking of that same topic, the city council sues Eric Adams for allowing ICE to go.
Wait a minute. How does school shooting and ICE combine together? That's not the same thing.
No, they don't. I was talking about Stephanie. I mean, I was talking about the letter.
Okay.
All right. I was talking about the letter to migrants and immigrants for them to be deported.
Okay.
I mean, we could start anywhere. I said the first topic that came up.
Well,
go back to the school shooting if you want.
Well, you know what's sad about the school shooting? The dad of the shooter is actually the chief of the police department.
Really?
So his father, he was very involved with the police department, with the youth and things like that. Either he's a lieutenant, a sergeant, or a chief, but his dad is the one in charge of that. So for them to arrest, they shot him, but they didn't kill him, knowing that they are familiar with him because he is the son of the person in charge.
And that kid is, he's a man, right? He's 20 years old.
Stem from, like, what was the catalyst? What?
They're not sure because they're.
And how many are dead?
Two. As of right now, 2. 6 injured.
6 are injured in the process. So it is it's very sad because constantly schools are used as the target like shooting targets. There's places for that.
So what's the governor saying? What's the governor saying? Ron DeSantis, what's he saying?
Nada.
Or Byron Donald, what is he saying?
Nada.
Or Tim Scott.
Nada. But what they were supposed to vote earlier on today was to reverse the changes that they had originally for people 18 to 21 not to hold guns. So they're trying to reverse that, and then here you go with the school shooting today.
This thing just continues, man. It's like a never-ending thing.
Over 4,000 school shooting has occurred from 2016, 2018? Yeah. From then on.
It's ridiculous.
So it is depressing. What are the telltale signs? We don't know. Anyone could go off at any given point. You send your kids to school to make sure that they're doing what they have to do. But unfortunately, not only are they
get distracted on the way to school. Yeah.
Yeah, but not only that, the whole thing is they have to worry about safety as well.
True.
In a process. So it's not easy like when we were growing up, because we didn't have to worry about that.
I keep telling people that I keep saying that statement over and again, and that's absolutely unequivocally not true.
It is true.
No, it's not.
It is true.
No, it's not.
They weren't having school shooting like that, Roderick, when we were growing up.
Ridiculous murders when
you were growing up in the 1970s, 1980s. They weren't having gun shootouts in schools like that. So
wait. What are you saying? Do you know why they brought metal detectors to school?
Okay, when did they bring it?
No, why?
They brought it in the 80s and 90s. You know why they brought them into schools?
Why?
You tell me.
Because of the violence that were happening in schools. Where do you guys get this information from?
Okay, Roger. I want you to bring up
those violent behaviors is why
shooting.
Yes, the violent behaviors, the shooting, the guns in school, the weapons. That's why they started allowing magnetometers in school. That's why you need to create safety agents. Because of the murders, because of the killings. Those magnetometers had stopped the amount of mass shooting and the amount of shootings and violence in school. He hasn't terminated them, which is what we like to see.
So do you think if more metal detectors were in place, it would lower these school shootings happening?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. I absolutely agree with that statement.
And they did come in as a result of that. But if you look at it too, now we have more social media to be able to show us this versus back in like 80s and 70s. So, but yeah, I mean, I always thought too, like, when people talk about metal detectors make kids feel like they're in jail and all that. And I'm like, yeah, kids don't even know what jail like,
That's exactly a good point.
Right. And they're learning. They come to school. You can go to bathroom, raise your hand. You go to. There's certainly you can't be in jail and do some of those things. I find studies like that flawed in that sense.
I've been in on coalitions. When you see a police officer in school. The kids who worry about police officers in school, and I've said it for the last 20 years, and I'll say it again. The person that worries about the police officer being on the street or driving next to you is the person who's committing a crime.
That's a big stereo. That's a generalization.
Yeah, it is. Are you socialized to believe that? Who runs from a police officer generally, John?
We know people of color.
No, I'm not talking about people of color. I'm just talking about who runs from a police officer, who don't want to have conversation with police officers in general. People who generally have a negative interaction with them, either through your parents or through your own personal interaction. That's just the bottom line. If you're going about your business They're going about their business, right? What I hate a lot, or when you see a police officer and you're going 55 miles an hour, the speed limit says 55, you slow down to 50. Why? You only have to worry about it if you're speeding, or if the police officer has their siren on and behind you and you're still going in front of them. Now that's stupid.
If you're going to a court or through the airport, that's just something, Sophia Martin. Yeah, you go to the court or airport, you don't even feel like, it don't feel weird. I just go through the metal detector.
Yeah.
Even when I was in school, I was okay. I was content with them.
Let me tell you, I hate going to the airport because of that.
Metal detector.
Yes, I hate it. I absolutely hate it.
Why though?
Why? Yeah, I know why I hate it, but I love it at the same time.
So I do not like to feel as though I am being strip searched, going through a metal detector, or after you're ringing and you have to. So clubs used to do that back in the days where they're searching you with the wand or whatever. I hate that. That's why I pay to do pre-check. Not to do all of that, but it's just driving me crazy. I rather drive everywhere than to go through that.
See, I beg to differ, right? I beg to differ. I don't like the inconvenience of it, but as long as everybody's going through it, I know that I can let that guard down once I get on the plane. Once I get inside the airport, I can let the guard down to think that some crazy mass murderer is going to be there. Right? That guard, the initial shock of going through it, yeah, is a pain in the ass. I agree. You got to take off your shoes, especially if you're running late for a flight.
If you pay pre-check, you don't have to take off your shoes.
Well, you still got to do some level of security, though.
If you have 2 laptops, you just have to take them off.
Well, whatever it is, you still have to do some measure. You still have to go to the metal detector. You still have to go.
I hate that. Can I tell you?
Again, it's not about you.
Oh, God, I hate it.
But it's not about you, though, right?
I know. It's not about me, but I just detest going to the airport.
The airport is one of the safest ways to travel. If not,
I know. I heard that.
If not the safest. Even with all the crazy plane crashes that are going on. It's one of the safest. I'm relaxing a little bit by sitting back, Dr. Brian. So you're going to be up there pulling up the comments from the viewers. Just put them up on the screen, or Andre, one of you can just put them on the screen and read them off.
And our guest is here too.
Yes, I did see that.
Thumbs up if you're ready, Stephanie. All right, she's ready. So.
All right, so let's bring her on.
All right.
Are you going to run a commercial first? Oh, I forgot.
Yeah, commercial first.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Yes. Good evening.
One moment.
Footprints Cafes now offers Caribbean flatbreads, available in 11 mouth-watering flavors, including favorites like jerk chicken, curry chicken, honey garlic chicken or shrimp, ackee and saltfish, garlic cheese, and more. Our flatbreads are satisfying and can be enjoyed by the entire family. So make it a flatbread night at Footprints and enjoy the fusion of flavors. These flatbreads are so good, you might just have to fight for that last piece. Good thing there's plenty more where that came from. Get yours today from any of our Footprints locations. Want to enjoy your flatbread at home? Then order on Uber Eats and get it delivered right to your door. We'll see you there.
Want to get your personal income tax, business corporate tax, self-employment tax, quarterly tax, payroll tax, or sales tax filing done professionally?
Yeah.
Call U.S. Barrett LLC 718-676-0519 and take the worry out of your personal and business life. Tax compliance issues should be left to the pros. So when you want your business to grow, call the pros, because a successful business matters. US Beer LLC also handles accounting, bookkeeping, business startups, consultation, real estate, and many more services. Call US Beer LLC 718-676-0519 and ask for Howard DaCosta, CEO, to book a 1-hour evaluation at no cost to you. Take remote control of all your needs, and US Beer LLC will follow your lead. Want to work but don't have a social security number?
Yes!
Find out about getting a tax ID to pay your taxes. Call US Beer LLC or log on to www.usbeer.com. Team up for success.
Call Howard Housing Solution today for all your real estate needs. Sellers, we can get top dollar for your home, and our vast network of professionals can facilitate your move and help you purchase your dream home in another state. Buyers, we have a pulse on the market and can get you in a home quickly. Property owners, we can manage your property efficiently and allow you peace of mind. So why wait? Call Howard Housing Solutions today at 646-825-5560 for your sale, purchase, or property management needs. Conveniently located in East New York, Brooklyn. You can come to us at 577 New Lots Avenue, Brooklyn, New York, or we can visit in the comfort of your home. Call Howard's Housing Solutions today at 646-825-5560. Howard Housing Solutions, real estate simplified.
Hi, good afternoon, Stephanie. How are you doing? Welcome,
I'm
Stephanie
well. How are you? Thank you.
Elliott Esquire.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
I just want to, before we even ask, before Dr. Bryant do her thing, I just want to make sure that everybody understands that you feel free to ask your questions, but please note that Stephanie is here, attorney Esquire. Delia is here to talk about the immigration, what's going on, and what some things are that happen on the immigration front. If you have any questions or concerns, or I don't know, please try not to keep them to personal matters, which, where you can, if anything like that, I'm sure there's a contact information that you can ask later on at the end of the show, right? You could give a contact if they want to reach out to you. With that being said, Dr. Bryant, take us away.
Hello, and welcome again to our show. We would love to learn a little bit more about you. Can you share who you are with our listeners?
Absolutely. Thank you. First, thank you for having me. This is an honor and a privilege. So I am Stephanie Delia. I'm an immigration attorney. I have been practicing immigration law specifically since 2011. I was with the CUNY Citizenship Now, which is a national nonprofit immigration organization, for several years, and I managed the city council services for some of that time. Since then, I've done some consulting, and now I'm the executive director of a small organization based in Brooklyn that is more focused on economic development, but it is a highly immigrant populated community. And so I've been providing immigration know your rights and creating specific trainings for particular groups. So the businesses, I created a training for them. The parents, I created a particular training for them. And so we're expanding in that area. I think that's enough about me for now.
Yes, thank you. You just mentioned something very important, totally off script.
Oh, by the way, just for the record, Dr. Bryant, I know. Let her. Some of her. I believe you speak another language, Stephanie.
I do Haitian Creole. I'm fluent.
There you go. And Dr. Bryant, you could completely greet her. Yeah, Dr. Bryant also speaks. Go ahead.
Oh, I see.
Oui.
Oh, lazy.
Sorry, I just had to interrupt and tell you that.
No, thank you. It's good news. I love my
you see the giggle on her face right away. And she found that out. Bonsoir, bienvenue.
Bienvenue. Yes. So you mentioned about immigrants know your rights, but in the climate that we're living in, is it truly know your right, or do they adhere to the rights that immigrants have?
So it's complicated. It is developing every single day. We are seeing things we've never seen before. That said, my belief is that everyone do have inalienable rights, right? So while the immigrants are currently under attack, and we can admit to that,
Mhm.
how they respond, depending on the situation they're in, is still something that the more information they have, the more they can first prepare in advance, but also try to manage to get through the system with as many of their rights as possible. And so you always have the right to remain silent. You always have the right to request an attorney. You always have the right to not accept searches. Now, whether or not they're going to respect those rights is a whole other ballgame.
Mhm.
But I do say it is your right, and you should express that. So, standing firm, speaking calmly, expressing that you know your rights and you would like them to be enforced, I think is always smart.
Okay.
There was a young man. A couple of cases in the that has been highlighted in the media. Um, uh, one being the Columbia student.
Mhm.
The other person is the person that was sent to El Salvador. That the court said
That they have to bring back.
the one in El Salvador that you have to bring back. When we tell
You forgot one more.
which one?
This is an important one. The one that actually received the email to say that he had to go and test for the immigration to become permanent residents. He did receive an email to say, hey, today's your day for you to go in. He went into the place to go and
Okay.
take his exam so
Mhm.
that he can become a lawful, legal, permanent resident here, and they arrested him on
Yeah,
site.
yeah. Okay, I think that kind of goes with the yes. I did forget that one, but that goes along with the conversation that I'm having now, in terms of knowing your rights,
Mhm.
right? People here on the TPS or CPV, I believe is what CPV one,
Yeah.
or other status that made them lawful abiding citizen, abiding residents here in the United States, and now even under recently today that the Supreme Court has agreed to hear in birthright citizenship, which is a constitutional right. As an immigration attorney, how difficult is it to convince someone that these are real rights?
So the way I phrase it is, they are real rights, but your rights are being violated. I think we can all agree that our people, and I mean specifically people who look like us, all four of us, are not new to having our rights being violated, right? We're not new to this. So we do have to remember that even though our rights are continue to be violated, we don't want to just give up the fact that they are in fact our rights, right? We don't want to say, oh, we no longer have rights. I think that's a bridge too far. So to consistently remind them that I know these are my rights and understand that when you say that, your rights will very likely be violated, right? Your constitutional rights will be violated. Your human rights will be violated. And these are the times we're in. It's happening every day. It is happening in new ways every day. Um, the immigration uh, the immigration community is um, still trying to figure it out, and it's complicated. And I don't know where we go from here. I know that there's enough of us who've decided that we're not going to sit it out, and so we have to be both smart and strategic. But we're fighting a different fight. We're fighting a fight that personally in my lifetime we've never had to fight before. So
When you
I
say
think.
that we're
Oh,
not going to sit it out, sorry, John,
it's
what do
okay.
you
good.
mean? Can you
Good.
elaborate on that?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
When you say that we're not going to sit it out, a lot of us decide that we're not going to sit it out. What do you mean by that? Can you elaborate?
Absolutely. So one of the things that is happening for the first time since I started practicing law is this is the first time that the attack is both on the immigrants and the immigration attorneys, right? The immigration practitioners. And so one of the things, and I don't know if you've heard about it, but there was a huge case with the firm Paul Weiss that the administration basically went after. And Paul Weiss, during this administration's last term, took on a lot of these cases pro bono. And when I say these cases, I mean immigration cases. They were huge with fighting for the rights of Haitian and Venezuelan immigrants specifically. Paul Weiss is a massive firm. They are incredibly wealthy and they have access. And this term, they agreed not only to stand down and not go and not continue to defend the immigrants, but they're actually investing in the causes that the administration supports. So that's a huge loss for the immigration attorney, right? Seeing the biggest and one of the most powerful firms bow out is terrifying. So when I say we're not going to sit it out, it means that the immigration attorney and the attorneys I'm continuing to speak to are continuing to do know your rights, right? We're continuing to advise clients about their rights, and we're continuing to give information. And we understand that when we engage in these conversations, this administration interprets that as going against us, and they take it personal, and they may come after us. And so that's what I mean by we're not going to sit it out. We're not going to cower. And that's not everyone. A lot of people do have legitimate reasons to be concerned, including me, right? So every day that I make the choice to continue to do this work, I am aware of the sacrifice that I'm making and the risk that I'm taking because, I have a family and I love them. And this administration has made it abundantly clear that they don't play fair. So, that's what I mean.
That's my point. That's my point with us. We always want to play fair. We should not play fair either. The Lord can be with us, but we have to be persistent and consistent. Paul Weiss it definitely is a huge firm, but their lawyers are no smarter than the independent single solo practitioner practicing on Fulton Street or Flatbush Avenue. It's your commitment and dedication that you have with the cause. You look at what happened during the 50s and when we couldn't vote. People went out on their limb, risked their lives to give us this opportunity that we possess. It's unfortunate that we have
that we don't utilize.
Exactly. And one thing we don't utilize is the collective us, meaning rallying the community behind us. And what our own relatives did to get to this country, the sacrifices that they went through to get to America. My old man came to America with $20 in his pocket and didn't know what the next move was. So, we just have to, pull our pants up, pull our boots up, ties our shoes, and just get ready for war. We have to battle. And the way we battle is making sure the collective us are involved in this. This is the movement now. This is a movement. And what really shocked me the most was when he put his thumbs up to the Supreme Court, when they said, you need to facilitate the return. And when you have the Attorney General, the one who is supposed to be protecting the constitutional rights of America, coinciding with or co-signing what the president has done, it just shows us that this is not a democracy. This is what we're talking about, a king who believes that he is above the law in all aspects. So we just got to show him a thing or two. So we just got to be consistent and dedicated to what we want. We have to have that same hunger that our parents had when they came to America with nothing in their pocket.
John, I want to make 2 points, and I don't know if I should make them simultaneously. I'm going to make them one at a time. The first one is, let's talk about the negative side of attorneys at this moment, where they are becoming predators because they understand that a lot of these immigrant who are in this situation are in deep concern, and they're desperate to do anything to try to stay in this country, including doing their life savings. I don't know what, if any, type of conversation. What are pitfalls? What are some things that you, as an immigration attorney, have you seen that? Because I know I've seen cases where lawyers understand that this dude or this woman is going to get deported, but I'm going to take the case anyway, knowing that it's free money. People like to talk about scrupulousness in different things, but there are a lot of people out there who are just not appropriate. Anything that you'd have to say to individuals, especially those who are into a nervous wreck?
Absolutely. So the answer is multifaceted, right? First and foremost, attorneys are human. And as such, some of us are business people, right? There are some attorneys that that became attorneys because they wanted to make money. And that is how they run their business. And so it is important to remember that one of the reasons Paul Weiss is wealthy is because Paul Weiss takes cases and they charge you, and the charges are based on what they have determined that they think is appropriate to charge, right? Not based on your circumstances. I use that example to say, regardless of the color, there are some attorneys who do that. So what I always say is whether an attorney is expensive or affordable doesn't necessarily define how skilled that attorney is.
Correct.
Right? And so, there are many factors that determine an attorney's cost. So that's number one. Two, there are ethical rules, right? And so there is such a thing as charging a rate that is so extreme that it becomes unreasonable. And oftentimes, I think because of how complicated the issues are, it's not always very simple to know at the onset whether this is an extraordinarily unreasonable price or whether this is just the type of case that requires a lot of work and is therefore expensive. The third thing, and the most important thing I will say, now more than ever, it is a lot more expensive than it's ever been for attorneys to do this work. And part of the reason is because there were a lot of types of cases where we anticipated that we were going to be successful. And that is because the prior administrations, there were certain rules that we anticipated would be followed. We knew what to expect in removal proceedings. We knew what the law said, and we anticipated that the law would be followed. We are not there anymore. So when you take a case, oftentimes you are charging based on what you assess it's going to cost you to do the case, right? And the last part is simply put, there are some people who looked at this, and specifically immigration attorneys who have looked at this as an opportunity to make money. And they are doing so by, I don't want to say taking cases they cannot win, because when you hire an attorney, you pay them for their time, not results, right? If anything, ethically, we're not permitted to promise you that we're going to win, because we never know. What we promise is we're going to fight for you. What we promise is that we're going to do the very best. And more importantly, we advise you on the law and what you should expect. Based on our experience, oftentimes our suggestions or advice is reliable, right? I know based on the facts and circumstances, your likelihood of success if you apply for asylum. And I could advise you and say, hey, because of these issues, you're not likely to be successful. If the client says I want it anyway, and your rate for filing an asylum case is $10K, and you've disclosed that at the onset, that's one thing. Telling a client, I think you can win, when you know they can't, and then charging them $10K, that's where it gets tricky. Under both circumstances, a client with an extremely weak case is going to be charged $10,000 to $15,000 for you to represent them in an asylum case. I think what makes it ethical and what makes it not is you explaining to the client their likelihood of success, explain it based on the facts, explain what should happen if they are unsuccessful, right? Will this mean you're likely to be deported? Are you going to be detained? What risks are associated with even bringing this case? If you explain that on the outset and you're honest and transparent and you're advising the client based on what's best for them, not what's best for your pockets, and the client still insists on hiring you, that's different. I hope that, put in perspective.
Something, Roderick, I want to, what I find, this is a crisis now, and this is about the lack of information that's really being put forth in our communities. So one thing I would like to see, if the village, we can sponsor a town hall talking about this issue, just educating, get a couple of attorneys, immigration attorneys, and just providing some information to the people in the communities. So that's something I'd like to throw out, want you to think about our fearless leader. Just putting a little town hall together, inviting people from the community who are concerned about this, because not only those who are status is questionable, but also those who are citizens who have family members or relatives whose status is questionable. So I think it's about information and how we can galvanize. So I throw that out too, and hopefully, you know, uh, attorney, you can be one of our speakers. Just informational. So that's something I'd like to throw out, Roger. You know, we were here on the village sponsoring something like that in the community.
I consider it done. Something we can work on in the next couple. I do have a town hall that I am working on right now with our council member Lewis, relating to community related stuff. But I think this is a great idea and a great opportunity.
But the village would like to sponsor this. The village.
No. Oh, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I'm working on one now, and so I have no issues working on another one.
So maybe we can co-chair it with her.
Well, Stephanie, we could always speak off the air and see if there's something that you and your organization would like to do with the village. We have no issues. We have partnered with other organizations to bring light on different subjects in the past, and I think this is a great opportunity. John, sometimes you amaze me, John, with how well you think.
Why is that? But
Power and unity, right?
He put me right on the spot, right?
Yes,
I love it. You know, not even that. I'll even volunteer. I even talked to my daughter yet, but I wouldn't volunteer her services because she clerks for immigration judges down the Federal Plaza.
Right.
So, you know, I bring her along so she can provide some of that information too.
All right.
She actually has. She might have the most updated of us all.
Huh?
She'll definitely have the most updated information of us all, but I'm pretty confident she won't be able to share the vast majority of it.
Oh no, she won't. At least she can, be able to provide information or, just be, listen.
John, I think this is a great idea. I think we should. I mean, we might do some level of joking around, but I do think that this idea that you're presenting, it allows for, because one thing about especially Caribbean immigrants, one thing we are essentially scaredy cats, right? We are pretty much afraid of our own shadow. We just want to remain quiet and hope things will go away, right? That's one of the things that I've personally seen within the neighborhoods that I have grown up in. And so an opportunity like this would be a great opportunity for them to get their private questions out. And I hope that a lot of people will, even after the end of the show, will give you a couple calls. And not just hope that because we now provide them with information, that now we're also responsible to walk them through the process and them not being asked. Not going out asking. But I think this is great. And I think we should do it. So look for us to call upon you, Stephanie, to get it done. And what I'll do, I throw our by 11 friend in the mix as well. Well, you don't know that she went to my 11, but she did went to my 11.
Okay.
John and I did. The other comment and question that I have, it goes around politics. I don't know. I'm never the one to tell people. I was disgusted by what Donald Trump said, and I publicly said it on the air, and I will not take it back. I said any Haitian person who voted for Donald Trump, even though it's your right, you're an idiot. Nobody can come in my house and tell me that I eat cats and dogs and think it's okay for me to vote for you. I know. I said it. I'm not taking it back. With that being said, I do know that you have the right to vote for whoever you want. So it brings me to the question around politics. And that is one way, right, to overcome some of these monstrosities, these atrocities, is to let Congress know that we have the ability and the right to vote you out. Not to vote for a person, but to vote on the issue. if this issue is important to you, have you had these conversations again, not to vote for a candidate, but to vote on the issue around politics? Has those conversations come up within your circle, within your unit at all?
Yeah. So there's a few things. One, the Haitian American Lawyers Association, right now, we're looking at a bill that came up recently, well, a few years ago, that we'd like to advocate to see if they could push again. There's a few factors, so I'll go in order. First and foremost, we really are experiencing a constitutional crisis, right? Every single thing that the framers of the Constitution anticipated could destroy democracy isn't essentially happening, right? There's supposed to be 3 separate and independent branches. We know for sure at least 2 of those are not independent. And the third one, we're nervous, right? It's still, the Supreme Court has made, have made some decisions that are questionable at best, but dangerous under the circumstances. There is no question that the people on the highest levels of the government understand the risk at hand. We understand that our democracy is at risk. We understand that the person in power is very clearly intent on, 1, not leaving office, 2, is engaging with questionable individuals, and 3, is defying the courts. Because the Supreme Court and the Congress and the president are equal, defying the Supreme Court, in essence, is almost claiming that you're more powerful than them, right? You don't have to pay attention. There is supposed to be swift consequence to that. I say all of that to say, a lot of the people I'm speaking with, we're very concerned about what happens in 2 years, because by the time we get there, if enough of the systems have been destroyed, if the democracy is not a real one, then the election itself might not have as much relevance, right? We are aware of lots of countries where elections happen and the same people consistently win the seat for 45, 50 years. And so that is I am in talks with people that are very concerned when we're looking at what is happening before our eyes. And there seems to be a lack of panic, right? The people seem to be the most panicked. The people who are in office still seem to be operating under a set of laws that I don't know will protect us. 2, well, I don't know what number we're at, but I will also say this is the very first time we have a very wealthy person who has money to burn, who is buying seats. And I don't know how much faith you have in the people, but a lot of people are just accepting the $1 million.
I don't know about, I mean, yeah, you can accept it, but he still lost that seat in Colorado.
So
or Wisconsin, he still lost.
Wisconsin, the Supreme Court.
That's true. But I hope that we make it to 2 years, but we're nervous. And I think we're nervous because, again, we've gone too far. And
yeah, but you know what? They put him in the office.
Yeah,
the
but
same
after
people
he
that
was in office, so the minute that he deported those people to Venezuela and he was ordered to bring them back, the courts could have found him in contempt, right? The Supreme Court took a day to decide. The government said, absolutely not. This isn't a question. You do not defy a judge's order, right?
Let's see what they do.
That's my point. They could have gone the extreme route. They are still not acting. They're still not responsive in the level that they are being under attack. And at some point, if by the time they decide, I don't know where we'll be, and I don't know what it will mean. It will take the people, and I'm very grateful that the people are standing up en masse and we're responding with vigorously, right? But I'd be honest if I told you that I'm not nervous about what happens in 2 years.
Well, it's up to us. It's up to us to change the tide. It's up to us, Stephanie. It's up to us. We're the ones who put him in the office. Those Muslims over there in Michigan who voted for him, who didn't vote for him. Those people of Caribbean and Hispanics and Caribbean and African Americans who chose to. I mean, you know what? You voted for him. He told I have no problem with what Donald Trump is doing because he told us what he was going to do. He told it, Project 2025. We didn't listen. He explained it. He told us explicitly what's going to happen. And you know what? He's living up to everything that he said he was going to do. So I have to respect him for that. He did not surprise anybody.
Well, that's one of the concerns, is that a lot of people who claim they didn't know, they did, and they voted anyway. And so the question is,
They voted by saying, "I don't think he has the power to do."
oh no, he was in office before, and
That's the other point I made.
yeah, he attempted everything. Everything he said he was going to do the first time, he attempted. It's just that we had a Supreme Court that stood up to him, and so that's why I'm concerned, because the first time around, the Supreme Court blocked everything. It was consistent. It was swift. It was very clear. This time around, the Supreme Court is the only group that has, and granted, we understand that when Hillary didn't get the seat and the Supreme Court choices that were made, consequent to Obama leaving, has impacted the court we have now. But that does mean that I don't know if the court is tainted, but it's hard to believe that it's not. And if the court is tainted,
I mean, you know what? But
Of course,
which
it's
is not
tainted,
right.
but
If the court is tainted and Congress is gone, it's dangerous times.
so my question to you: have you had a lot of your clients who decided to go back because of fear, go back home because of fear of getting deported, or they took the charge because they noticed what's been happening?
So I do not represent clients as much as I have anymore. I still work with a lot of people that do. One of the vast majority of the people I worked with were from Haiti, and the circumstances in Haiti are still not a place that people could return to right now, despite how bad it is here. There are a lot of people talking about leaving and trying to figure out where they go because of the risk their status is in. How they leave is complicated. A lot of them, have lives, they have jobs, they have spaces, they built lives here. And so leaving everything behind right now is a real question for a lot of people. But Haiti, I maybe less than 2% of the people I interact with believe going back to Haiti is a real option. Most of them.
I have a question around that. That's actually a very good question, Dr. Brian. And the follow-up question to me is because a lot of these people fleeing political prosecution or poverty or any of the negatives that came from these countries that they're coming from, the option of going back does not seem like a viable option. So that's why some of them, or they're complacent because they're used to the political corruption and the political violence. They say, "Oh, this is nothing. I can brush it off and do whatever I need to do." Have you heard that?
No, that's an interesting point. You might be onto something. That's really a good point. That might be.
For once, you made a good point.
I was trying to wonder why they're so complacent, but you're right. It might be because while this scares me the way it does, I've been here since 7 years old. So while I'm Haitian, I don't remember. I've never experienced the political unrest and the insecurity, right?
Yeah, this is what we're used to, right? This is like I do remember. I was 4 years old in '76, right? I remember the '76 election and the '80 election with the violence in Jamaica. I do remember, right? But I'm American, right? I am American. I understand. You could pretty much ask me anything about American politics, and I'm able to answer, right? I would say I'm more knowledgeable than the average American, right? In terms of American politics, right? So I guess for you, I guess I'm having the same. It's kind of like having a culture shock, right? Because this is not the culture that I'm used to. I'm used to do nothing politicians, but I'm not used to over trying to overcome and become the dictator or dictator-like opportunities that are existing, and the silencing of the opposition, like you see in other.
I want to add on to what you're saying. I noticed that the people who they have been deporting, have been people who have been speaking up about Pakistan and noticing that our people are not outright speaking up. So it's just interesting because you become vocal and you get silenced. So I don't know if it's because of history that our people tend not to say anything and just stand on the background, but it is fascinating just to watch that it's not, um 5 years ago, 4 years ago, different, very, very, very vocal. Now silence amongst us. So that is very, very strange.
I will say, one, there are real consequences that we've never seen before, right? Having a group of people be deported to a country
That
where
they might not be a part of either.
right,
Or
where
no.
they're where the intention is for them to be imprisoned indefinitely, right? They will see no lawyers, they will speak to no family. They get, I think, an hour of daylight a day, if that much, and it's strict, right? That's it's I don't know. Yeah, that's something we've never seen before. And knowing that,
I don't know if it's never been seen before. If you think about slavery,
well, that's my
if you
point, is that,
compare,
well, even
yeah,
in
if you
slavery,
compare, yeah, if you
but
compare it
even
to
if in
that,
slavery, what I will say is in slavery, we were transported, right? The transatlantic trade slave
mm-hmm,
thing happened, and we were owned and we were considered property. And so, for the most part, American slaves were going through the worst experience of their life, but they were brought to America and enslaved as a group there in here.
mm-hmm.
This is new, and even that is that we are. It's almost as if America has become the new Africa, right? And the people that he wants to deport are being sent to some other country to be enslaved there.
Well,
But
it's
we still don't,
interesting.
right? And so I say that to say, I'm not comparing it. I don't want to compare it to slavery, because I think slavery is the worst thing of humankind, period, full stop.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
This, however, for the considering the fact that there is no, during at the time of slavery, Black people were considered property.
mm-hmm.
Today, we there is no declaration that immigrants are property. There is no declaration that immigrants are not human. The decision to take over 200 people, not notify their attorneys or their family, ship them to another country, the decision that the president of that country is going to indefinitely imprison them in one of the strictest prisons ever known. They will not have any contact with people. And again, it is indefinite. It may be till they die. In my personal experience, in my lifetime, this is the first time I've ever seen anything or heard of anything this crazy. And that is coming from the highest power in the land, right? And that even though a Supreme Court order to facilitate the return, after the order, the president of the country flat out said, absolutely not, I'm not returning him. And the Supreme Court heard it, and nothing has happened.
Because nothing can't happen. That's the
That's
thing.
not true. That's my point, is that the Supreme Court can absolutely say, okay, you are violating a court order. We're going to
Right, but in order for them to enforce it, it has to be from the presidential office to enforce it. Yes, they can say, hey, you're in violation, but who's going to actually hold them in contempt or do anything
The
else?
Supreme Court can hold the president's office and all of those who's violating the order in contempt. And the power of contempt is that they actually could be imprisoned until the issue is resolved. The power of contempt is similar to what they're saying, which is my point. But that's why I'm saying we're so extreme that if you decide they're doing something extreme and you're not going to do something extreme in response, it is why I'm concerned. But I say all of that to say, when we're talking about people being afraid, the truth of the matter is they have something to be afraid of. Now, I don't think their silence will protect them. And so my stance is that if being afraid, if being quiet, if saying nothing would have given me some kind of solace, I'd probably choose that. But I understand that whether I'm silent or not, whether I fight or not, my fate is the same. And my fate is at risk because I fit all of the categories that is under attack, right? I am Black, I am a woman, I am Haitian, I am an immigrant, I am a minority, and I'm not in the top 1%. So for me, I'm like, all right, they've already said what they're coming for, and I fit all of it. Might as well fight back, right? If I'm going to go down, staying quiet isn't going to stop me from going down. But
So
I also, I will just say one last thing. I also do understand why people don't. So I just want to be cautious to be like, we're staying quiet. But what is happening is terrifying. And people have every right to be terrified if you're an immigrant specifically. Continue. Go ahead.
All right. So I am going to interrupt you. I like John's idea because one of the audience question that was sent to me directly was, would you be willing to go out and do workshops? And I don't know if that message was sent before or to egg on what John was saying as well. So let's start a conversation tomorrow. All right. Around your organization. I know one of my Domino persons actually asked about that, to do that workshop. And so we're going to work together to, I say within the next 2 weeks. Is that something that's feasible? We could work on that schedule tomorrow. John, Joanne, Andre, any of you want to help me facilitate this and see what we can do from there? I see head shaking, but no verbal cues.
I recommended it, so I'm supporting it.
Would you recommend helping me with it?
I said if I recommend it, I'm supporting it.
I am supporting it too, but that means I'm doing the physical work. Yeah.
Of course.
All right, thank you. So I'll try to see what time John's. What are good times for you? I don't want to I took up your late evening today. So what is a good time, General? And I know we were texting back and forth up to about 10 something last night, but I was in a meeting actually. What's normally a good time? And I think I'm a roping our friend. I want to see if she's involved.
Usually between 11 and 2 are the safest.
That's AM or PM?
AM, please.
You would hope is AM. Come on now.
Now, again, let's be honest. I don't like to do early morning meetings, so I'm not sure why.
So you're saying 11 p.m. and then 2 a.m.?
I would say 11 p.m. for me is solid.
Anyway, how can people get in contact with you?
Because I'm not taking cases right now, if you are looking for an immigration attorney, I am actually suggesting that people try going to their city council member's office. They are connected to lots of free services. Try that first, please. If not, I am with I'm the executive director of Little Haiti BK, so info at Little Haiti BK or sdelia at Little Haiti BK, and then I probably will reroute you to first. I always say try the free options, because having worked with a nonprofit organization who did pro bono services for so many years, we were as good as the best of them. But if they're full and you cannot get in at all, then you make sure you vet the attorney.
All right, thank you.
Absolutely.
All right. With that being said, thank you so much, Stephanie Delia, Esquire. Oh, wait, I gotta ask. Sorry, I know we got to go because our next guest is here. But what's the difference between attorney, lawyer, and esquire?
What's just you?
I love that. I basically tell people they're synonyms for the same thing, but esquire is really just something you put behind your name so people can know that you're an attorney.
Yeah, okay. So do you say Esquire Delia or Delia Esquire?
Delia Esquire.
Delia Esquire.
It's almost like you would substitute it for junior. But when you see Esquire, then you know that you're a member of the bar.
Okay. All right.
All right. Thank you.
I'm going to stick with Dr. Delia. That too, right? But you don't use that. You use Esquire.
No, but yes, we do have a Juris Doctor.
So littlehaitibk.org, not double dots.
No, it's just one. So if you do info at littlehaitibk.org, that email will come to
info at littlehaitibk.
And I check that inbox regularly.
Thank you. Info at Little Haiti.
Oh, you're doing by the way, you do the Haitian Day parade with Perez Lazama.
Yes, I'll be there.
Yeah, unfortunately, I cannot be. I'm their community board chair, actually.
Oh, nice. Oh, my goodness. I'll tell them.
I was hoping that you would have been there last week at the mayor's thing, but you were.
Andre, info at littlehaitibk.org.
Yes. Are you 14 or 17?
I'm 17.
Oh, I've been at several of your meetings. I didn't recognize you through the screen. Oh, my goodness. It's good to see you.
Don't worry.
Usually I've had.
Yeah, I'm in a little pain, so I'm kind of sitting a little obtuse, as my daughter would say.
His
No,
hand
it's
looks
okay.
too
I
good
usually send
right?
our program manager to do the presentation because I'm trying to get them up to speed in presenting publicly, but I'm usually, in the crowd.
It's a small world sometimes.
Delia is correct.
Yes, that's it.
Okay. So if you all need to reach Miss Delia, she is not taking people, but you can send her some questions at info@littlehaitibk.org. Thank you
General
for
questions
joining us.
only. I won't be giving legal advice. Just general questions.
Okay. Awesome. This won't be the last time because there's a forum coming up. So thank you for joining us, and thank you for your information this evening.
It's a pleasure. It was a pleasure meeting you all. Have a good one.
All right, represent IET all the way.
I say anything in Creole, Joanne? Like to the audience?
I
To
did.
the audience? No?
No. You want to
Okay,
say
honneur.
Who you want me to say that?
Yes, moi dis honneur. You say respect. Honneur.
Wait. No. Oh, come on.
Of course, c'est un honneur.
Respect.
On l'a ensemble, I swear. Merci beaucoup.
Bonsoir.
Bonne nuit.
Okay. One way. See, that wasn't so hard. See, I got to pull teeth with her. All right, take care. Have a good evening.
Good night.
Good night.
Next
Hey,
guest.
so, Dr. Bryant, I got to tell you something, boy. People don't give us Caribbean people credit, man. They don't give us credit, enough credit. We work our asses off to attain a lot of things in America, to learn a lot of crap.
That is true.
And kudos to Esquire, to Dr. Sampson, to Dr. Bryant, for the work that we have done as Caribbean American, either first generation or second generation Americans, and to help, and the love that we have, the passion that we have for America is strong and deep. So, Andre, you want to run the commercial and to bring our guest on? Andre?
I think Andre might take a nap. He might be taking a nap. There he is.
So run it and bring it on. Did you hear us?
He heard you.
Did you hear what I said? I said to run the commercial and bring the guest on. Thank you.
Footprints Cafes now offers Caribbean flatbreads, available in 11 mouthwatering flavors, including favorites like jerk chicken, curry chicken, honey garlic chicken or shrimp, ackee and saltfish, garlic cheese, and more. Our flatbreads are satisfying and can be enjoyed by the entire family. So make it a flatbread night at Footprints and enjoy the fusion of flavors. These flatbreads are so good, you might just have to fight for that last piece. Good thing there's plenty more where that came from. Get yours today from any of our Footprints locations. Want to enjoy your flatbread at home? Then order on Uber Eats and get it delivered right to your door. We'll see you there.
Call Howard Housing Solution today for all your real estate needs. Sellers, we can get top dollar for your home, and our vast network of professionals can facilitate your move and help you purchase your dream home in another state. Buyers, we have a pulse on the market and can get you in a home quickly. Property owners, we can manage your property efficiently and allow you peace of mind. So why wait? Call Howard Housing Solutions today at 646-825-5560 for your sale, purchase, or property management needs. Conveniently located in East New York, Brooklyn. You can come to us at 577 New Lots Avenue, Brooklyn, New York, or we can visit in the comfort of your home. Call Howard's Housing Solutions today at 646-825-5560. Howard Housing Solutions. Real estate simplified.
Want to get your personal income tax, business corporate tax, self-employment tax, quarterly tax, payroll tax, or sales tax filing done professionally?
Yeah.
Call U.S. Bureau LLC 718-676-0519 and take the worry out of your personal and business life. Tax compliance issues should be left to the pros. So when you want your business to grow, call the pros because a successful business matters. US Beer LLC also handles accounting, bookkeeping, business startups, consultation, real estate, and many more services. Call US Beer LLC 718-676-0519 and ask for Howard DaCosta, CEO, to book a 1-hour evaluation at no cost to you. Take remote control of all your needs and US Beer LLC will follow your lead. Want to work but don't have a social security number? Yes! Find out about getting a tax ID to pay your taxes. Call US Beer LLC or log on to www.usbeer.com. Team up for success.
All right, we're back. We are back. We are back. We are back. And we're back with amazing new guests. An individual who is running for city council, Mr. Eli Brown. Can you please share?
Before he does that, Dr. Brown.
Okay, go ahead.
No, it's not that. I'm just gonna ask him if he could give me a little more, give the audience a little more lighting in your background. Not you, Dr. Brian.
Me?
Yeah. Maybe put the light in front of you instead of behind you.
In front?
Yeah, that's
perfect, right?
That's
Yeah, they can see you. So please share a little about yourself with our listening communities. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. The Village Radio, the Village Talk, right? Village Talk Radio.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, Roderick, for extending the invitation to have me on you guys' show. And I really appreciate giving me the platform to speak and tell you about myself and my passions. So my name is Eli Brown. I am born and raised in Ocean Hill, Brownsville my whole life. And this is the district that I'm running for office in. So I went to public school here, middle school, high school, and then I finally left the neighborhood and went to Brooklyn College. That was me. That was me. Going away for school. I went away for school to Brooklyn College, and I received an accounting degree from Brooklyn College. And instead of taking my talents to the private sector, I wanted to give my talents to my community. So I started to work in a high school in my neighborhood and started to do financial literacy courses. And I did that for about 7 years. And now I work at the district level. I have every high school in Brownsville on my caseload, which I have about 1,000 students that I meet with on a day-to-day basis. And so now my passion went from financial literacy to civically engaging our young people about their power in their community. And with anything, I like to be educated about what I'm teaching. So I obtained a master's degree in politics and education from Columbia University. So I know what I'm talking about. And so now that led me to seeing there's a need in our community for fresh new leadership. And I decided to run for city council in District 41 to do what I've been doing, but on a different scale.
Now, I observed one thing that you stated, that you went away to school and then you did international studies because you went from Brooklyn.
Yeah. I went away. I branched outside the neighborhood, like 20 minutes, but
Oh goodness.
Hey, don't talk about my college, man.
Oh yeah, you fellow alumni.
Yeah, he has a JD from was it JD John?
No, BA
from Columbia, from Brooklyn College. I'm not talking about Brooklyn College. Talking about Columbia. I have a fellow. We have a former guest who's also got his JD from Columbia.
Okay.
Not the previous guest, but a former guest.
Okay.
Tell us, Mr. Brown.
Yes.
I love how you said that. Thank you for the invitation from me. I didn't tell you that I got stuck up. I had an AK on the left side and a,
yeah.
and a 9mm Glock on the right side.
Yeah.
That said, you got to get this brother on. I won't say who had the Glock, who had the AK, because the person came out, this dynamic brother. I don't know, but we've had a couple of conversations, and all of those conversations have been short, sweet, and powerful.
Yes,
those conversations have shown your passion for. Did somebody just write?
Hi, Jalen.
Oh, hi, Jalen. How are you doing? Okay, I thought I read something else. Short, sweet, compassionate, and strong-willed. One of the words that people used to describe me was intelligent. So I'm not going to use that word to describe you. I'm going to use the word that prepared.
Yes.
Prepared for a certain conversation. So the first question is, besides being from the community, you're in your 30s. There was an opportunity to run several times.
Mm-hmm.
And especially you're running against an incumbent.
Yeah.
And you plan to unseat an incumbent.
Yes.
Tell us about that. What now made you say this is the time is right?
So before I do anything, I want to make sure one is what God wants me to do. First, that's first and foremost. Because a lot of times people just want to do things just because they think they can. But I always pray about, is this something God wants me to do? So that's first off, right? And then, so in the Bible, they say faith without works is dead, right? So once I realize God is leading me into a specific direction, I educate myself on the direction that God is leading me into, right? And then so, yeah, there was a few opportunities that people asked, you should run for office. But if I didn't feel like God didn't tell me to do so, or I feel like I wasn't educated enough, I wouldn't do it, right? So at this moment, I am well educated. God has told me and put it in my heart to do so. So that's what brings me here at this moment. That's when I made the final decision of, this is the time for me to run for office.
Okay.
That's my answer.
Excellent. Let's talk about your race. What are your main areas of interest that what's your platform? What are you?
Okay, so my first area of interest it has to be something you're very passionate about, right? And I always say, don't judge people on what they say, judge them on what they've done. So I've spent over a decade of my life working with young people and coming from a young person, right? And I went right into the education system in my early 20s. So my first initiatives is to fund more programs for our young people, especially in our district where the crime that happens in our community is majority young people, right? That they don't have community centers where they're hanging out. They're just hanging out in parks after school. They're not getting enrichment in their talents and their purposes. So if your talent is not fed, then you are just living a purposeless life. And when you live a purposeless life, that's when trouble arises, right? So my first initiative is to fund youth programs and just continue to work with and mentor young people like I've been doing for my whole career, because I see that is the number one need in our community. The number one need is to prepare our young people for the future. So that's my number one platform is working with our young people.
All right. Number two.
So my second platform is housing, and in different tiers. Affordable housing is one tier. Pathways to ownership is another tier, right? Because you mentioned I'm in my 30s. A lot of my peers are looking to purchase property, and we don't have the resources to, because most of our funds are going towards rent, right? It's no longer how it was 30 years ago when my parents bought their brownstone for $50,000. You know, now that brownstone is $2 million, and I can never purchase in the community that I grew up in. But that's when government programs can step in, right? To help people, young people, or people that are ready to purchase property. Let's give them a chance. You know, let's create pathways to ownership. Let's keep our talented let's keep our talented individuals that educated themselves and got great careers and opportunities. Let's keep them here. Let's keep them here, right? Because what's happening is those that educated themselves and got great careers, they're like, well, New York City isn't doing it for me. Like I can't survive here. All of my money is going towards living. So what happens to them? They leave. They leave where they're from, and they go somewhere else because it's more affordable. So let's create pathways for those that were here and created a great career and lives for themselves. Let's keep them here. So that's one of my platforms is pathways to ownership and affordable housing, right? Affordable housing is, so I don't like to speak in theory. I like to speak in like real life. So one of the best things that could have happened for me was, so I grew up in, hello, I'm still here. The screen switched up. Okay, all right. So I grew up in a house, right? And like a brownstone. I grew up in a brownstone. And when I first started working for the Department of Education, and when I was 22 years old, the best advice someone could have gave to me was apply for those housing lotteries. Apply for the housing lotteries. I was making about my first job, I was making $30,000 when I was in the Department of Education. And thank the Lord they told me to do that, right? Because that $30,000 when I was 22 was considered low income, which enabled me to get my first apartment through the housing lottery. And through the housing lottery, your rent doesn't go up based off of your salary. So now with me making triple, like $30,000, I pay almost the same amount of rent that I did 10 years ago, right? And so that enabled me to do so much. And I still have that apartment, right? But that enabled me to do so much. And that's truly what affordable housing is, right? Affordable housing is you give people this opportunity so they can grow, right? Not so just to keep them there and keep them stuck in a situation, right? Like give them an opportunity and allow them to grow. And thankfully, I was able to do that with affordable housing, and I used it for my advantage.
So, you know, I have an education background. John has a law and political background, and Dr. Bryant, you know, has an education background as well. I'm more education in politics. John is more law and politics. And Dr. Bryant is learning a lot of politics being on the show, but she knows about education policies, right? And things that need to, and I see that you're trying to combine all of those conversation and the financial literacy component. I'm glad that you brought that up. The reality of the situation, is that education is a way out of poverty, right? Part of my childhood was in Brownsville, the same district that you're running in. I now represent a part of Brownsville. John represented a part of Brownsville as well, right? We understand the crime and violence. We understand the push. What program have you seen work? And you now in 2026, your first official term, because this term is a 4-year term, is a completion of a 2-year term. No, this is the completion of a 4-year term. So this will be your first official term. And you have 4 years. Tell us about a program that you would like to fund that you think as a city council that is a diamond in the rough.
Yeah.
That can reach those people. That's going to help them. You're going to compete with Rita Joseph for sit on that committee on education. Deputy speaker on education. I don't know what they call committee chairs or deputy vice chair.
Yeah.
Right. Tell us the crux of the matter. Tell me an initiative.
Okay. So one, why are our young people disengaged, right? Is because education is not meeting their interest. Education is not meeting their interest, right? So years ago, the trades used to be a part of New York City public school system, right? And for some reason, the trades were taken out of our schools. My father, he's in his 60s, and he would say, when I was going to school, we was learning how to work on cars, and we were learning how to be engineers. And
technical,
he was like, we was learning how to be plumbers, and he was like, we was leaving and making money on the weekends, and a lot of us was making more money, like doing our trades than the teachers. And I'm like, wow.
By the way, still is true. True.
Yeah. No. I know. That's what I'm so I'm like, wow. So what happened after the 70s where they just abolished the trades in schools for young men, especially, and young women, and then the criminal justice system boomed? I'm like, is that like an intentional like policy change to really just like lock us up and throw us in jail? So that's still a question I still have yet to figure out. But my answer is, let's get our young people engaged. Let's teach them things that they're interested in learning, right? Let's teach them the trades. Let's teach them carpentry. Let's teach them engineering. Let's teach them plumbing. Let's teach them what's another trade? Plumbing, and also I said engineering.
Electrical.
Yeah, electrical. So an organization that I work with now that we're doing that on a community-based level is Central Brooklyn Economic Development Corporation. And we got a grant to teach young people in Brownsville trades. So we have a cohort. The first cohort is called Youth Build. The first cohort of young people from the ages of 17 to 24, and specifically for Brownsville residents and specifically for NYCHA residents, are learning the trades. And now our young people are getting the education that they need, that they will be able to thrive in their lives, right? Because it's like with a lot of this technology, AI, a lot of people are losing their jobs because of technology, right? I know friends that I have work for tech companies and Google, making great money, 6 figures, $250,000 a year. They all losing their jobs, right? Because AI is taking over. But as long as we have places that we need to live, those jobs can't be replaced. So that's what we need to prepare our young people for, to be viable in the future is for them to know how to be to build where you live, know how to build and sustain where you live. And Central Brooklyn Economic Development Corporation, that's an organization that I'm a part of, and we are doing that now. And so my policy would just be expand that when I become council member.
All right, excellent. You have a deep field, right? Yeah, you have a deep field to run. It's very rare. I think when I ran in 2009 was the largest field against an incumbent that I saw, right? But there was a reason why there was a large field, because in 2009 it was supposed to be an open seat, and then Bloomberg made the change to run, so you could run for a third term that year, and then a lot of city council members latched onto it. So what was supposed to be an open seat now became an unopened seat, right? How do you stand right now in terms of endorsement, fundraising? How do you stand on the run? I mean, let's remove the incumbent, because the incumbent is almost always, and if this is not true in your case, you can obviously let us know that, almost always going to raise the most money.
Yeah.
And almost always going to get most of the endorsement anyway. But your endorsement comes from the voters, from the people.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. Like, so your petition, how do you rank in terms of your signatures? How did you rank?
Yeah. Okay, so we just had a forum where all of us that are challenging the incumbent, we all had a forum on our policies, and the same question you're asking of what were we capable of doing. So it was 7 of us there. It was one candidate. She got 2,000 signatures, and I got the next, which was 1,500. I got 1,500 signatures, and then all of the other candidates got under 1,000. So some of them got 500, 600 signatures. But myself and one of the other candidates, out of the 7, I got 1,500, and the other candidate, which is a female, she got 2,000.
The 41st district is what, Brownsville?
Yeah, Darling Mealy.
Yeah, Brownsville.
Darling Mealy.
Yeah, Brownsville, East Flatbush, parts of Crown Heights, parts of Bed-Stuy, Ocean Hill, Brownsville, that area.
One thing I know about Darlene, the councilwoman, she has a great hold on the seniors.
I was about to ask that question, John.
She does a lot for the seniors. Does a lot for the seniors.
Thank you for answering. I was going to ask how you going to dent that.
Yeah. So what I've realized with the seniors, with the work that I've been doing with them, is they feed off of pouring into our young people. They feed off of, and so with my background in the high schools in the community, I do a lot of initiatives where I have my young people work with the seniors, and just building intergenerational gaps of the elders of the generation of our community being able to pour into our young people, and our young people being able to learn from the wisdom of our seniors. So I've been very intentional with the youth that I work with on a day-to-day basis, have them going to senior centers, have them volunteering, showing the seniors how to work their cell phones, how to work different apps on their phones. And it's just, I love seeing the connection, right? Like just bridging that gap between the youth and the energy of the youth and the wisdom of our seniors. So that's what I've been doing over the past years of working in the district, is having my young people work with our seniors.
What about fundraising? How's that going?
So as of I raised around $7,000, and as far as endorsements, I go to one of the biggest churches in Brownsville, Ebenezer Urban Ministry Center. We actually have 500 units that are part of our church, and we have over 1,000 members. And also I'm working with my pastor, Bishop Nelson. He is a part of the God Squad. He actually was one of the founding members of the God Squad that are associated with a lot of the churches in the district. And let's just say everyone's looking in the most political, correct way. Let's just say everyone's looking for a change in the neighborhood.
Yeah, I do love Bishop Dr. Hugh Nelson. He's a very good guy as well, and I know a lot of people within the 6-7 Precinct Council as well, Pastor Monroe's and a few others who are in the district. How can people get in touch with you if they want to interact with you?
Well, so my social media platforms are Eli Brown. Every Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, everything is Eli Brown. And I'm really in the community. I'm really meeting with our community. See, and that's one of the initiatives when I become city council member is you have to be outside, right? You have to. My job now, I'm a district attendance teacher. So my job is to knock on doors all day long to see why students aren't coming to school. And that's the reason why a lot of our residents of the community don't know about the city council and what they even do, because they're not seeking out our elected officials. Our elected officials have to seek out the members in our community and stop being lazy and just only catering to a small demographic of constituents in the neighborhood that will keep putting you in office, right? And that's why I'm happy that it's 7 of us running, and all of us are not in the same age bracket as the incumbent. All of us are around the same age group in our 30s. And we're just tired of like what we've been seeing happening in our district. We all of us are tired. And so we thank God for ranked choice voting, because we will collaboratively work together to push out the incumbent.
Excellent job. Glad to hear some of the stuff that you're bringing up. Nice to know that this is a good push on I'm still very impressed. Are any endorsements out there publicly? I don't know if I did kind of ask the question, and I think I was listening to you alluded to a few names of individuals who you've been working with. Did anybody have public?
Yeah. So I have meetings with the UFT, which is my union, and a few other unions, but no one has made a decision yet. I do think a lot of people are kind of like scared to make a decision yet, because you don't want to go against the incumbent, right? Because but it's a new generation rising up. It's a new generation rising up in our community, right? So it's like, yeah, if you it may be a risk. All of us are new into this political landscape, right? But one of us are going to be the next leader, right? One of us are going to be the next leader. And so right now, my biggest endorsement is my church. And that's what I need. I need my church endorsement. I need my Bishop Nelson put me in front of the church, and he's like, we need to put the full weight of the church behind Eli, right?
That's a great thing. I'm not a fan of Donald Trump, and I'm going to end with this. I'm not a fan of Donald Trump, and there are a lot of issues we didn't get a chance to talk about. We had 2 great guests. But one of the things that we knew about Donald Trump that made him win the election is that he kept to his speech and he kept to his audience.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So if you get those 1,500 people to vote for you, and another 3,000, know that target number, make sure your campaign person knows the target number to win the election.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Especially it's a mayoral election, so it's a big deal. So a lot of people will come out in the primaries. It would also be helpful if you get one of the candidates to be on your ticket as well. So just a thought. But and I know you got an endorsement of a particular principal and assistant principal in your run as well. So and we'll follow up more. Show up to the community board meeting, introduce yourself, let them know who you are. I had one of the candidate there last night, one of the candidate there the month before. I'm just telling you, show up and meet and greet.
Yeah.
There's a comment from Ingrid. I agree with the speaker about the trade in the school. This is something that helps a lot of our people.
Yes.
Which is true.
Thank you, Sister Ingrid. Yeah.
All right. Mr. Brown, it was a pleasure, man.
Yep. With that
thank you for having me. And yeah.
Okay. You got the platform. Again, people could reach you at Eli Brown on all platform, Insta, Facebook.
What's your website?
Excuse me?
Your website.
EliBrown2025.com.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
God bless. And thank you everyone for joining us. We are way over time, actually. I didn't realize that.
All the best, Mr. Brown.
So thank you much.
And happy Easter.
And happy Good Friday and happy Resurrection Sunday.
Yes.
Bless everyone.
Yes.
Time to give out. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube station as we plan to grow in 2025. God bless each and every one of you. Enjoy the remainder of your evening. And to all the birthday people, I didn't get a chance to say birthday to anyone, but happy birthday and God bless. Enjoy your Easter.
Bless.
I want some bun and cheese. God bless.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
All right.